Hello everybody, Ray Garner with Garner's Games, here to do my weekly comic review. This one should be astonishing. The Astonishing, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. The art of the Thwip, I think that's pronounced T-H-W-I-P. Can't ever say that correctly. This comic book is brought to us by Coduly Ziglar. I'll struggle with these artist names, but I'll do my best. Alessandro, Miracola, and Guara. The last name is G-U-A-R-A. Pretty sure I'm not getting that correctly, but I am trying. Now, this story seems to kind of bounce around the timeline a little bit. We start off, we have a couple of starving artist villains. I had to write down their names because they're characters I'm not familiar with. It's Bumpler and Zespa, which are basically kind of bee wasp-oriented characters. And they're trying to steal Big Bird. And just flat happen to bump into Miles as he's doing some schoolwork. And as they're trying to steal it, it's kind of hilarious because they basically figure out this thing is freaking heavy. And as they're fighting Spider-Man, the curator of the museum throws a fit at him about getting webs all over the product. And as he's distracted by that, they hit him with a buzz bomb, which is a bee bomb. Or I'm sorry, not a bee bomb, a honey bomb. And they coat most of the museum in honey, which is kind of hilarious. Miles goes chasing after them. The guy is like complaining about how heavy this thing was, and only the girl apparently studied and realized that the artist only works in oak. After it looks like they finally defeat him, while they're trying to take a selfie to, get everything set up, Miles backs up the artifact and proceeds to start going after them if they decide to get out of there. During the fight, the guy is not careful with the honey gun and detonates, I guess a part of a building. It looks more like the window. It blew a window washer off the deal. Miles has to save her, but in doing so, crash lands with her and breaks the artifact. Now, afterwards, he's trying to get them to try to help him put it back together because he needs to return this. And Vespa points out that she minored in clay. And they're both shocked by this. And so, with a little help from Spider-Man and her honey gun, they glue together the artifact, and it's all cracked up pretty badly. The curator is not happy that they broke it, but is extremely happy that they were able to fix it. Decides to offer them a job fixing things that get broken around the museum, as long as they don't steal from them. So, in the end, they get employment. Then we time jump to the second story. And this is set 1 week after the God Wars, which was Miles Morales Spider-Man 32 through 36. And the reason I point this out, I do like the fact that they take the time to tell you what they're referencing in the story. I really dislike it when we just assume that everybody has read every comic book that everybody's ever printed. Now, tell me what books I haven't read that are relevant to this story. I like that. So thank you. And they're basically talking about how, what's her name? Gust has met one of her parents, which was a god of wind. And as they're doing that, a super speedster goes running by nearby cops. This is called Hightail, is her name. And then all three of them go after her. And she's like, I don't have time for this. I'm on the clock, so I'm in a bit of a hurry. She really basically takes it out on Gus. And it's getting away from them. They're trying to get it. And eventually, it comes down to just Gus chasing her because nobody else is able to keep up for the most part. Gus hits her with basically a mini tornado wind spin. Sends her crashing across the roof after she runs up the side of a building. And the package away from her. And she's trying to grab the bag. Kicks her in the gut. Takes off running down the building trying to get to it. At the end, Miles is able to wrap her up. And she's like, you stupid, thick-headed, curse word. Do you know what you've done? And, of course, this is all being translated from Spanish. Whoa, where's hurt, Hightail? You reckon failed robbery harder than anyone expected. Use your eyes. It wasn't money I was stealing, moron. It was medicine. And that's where the story ends. To be continued next issue. This is a fun book. 2 stories. Not really heavily connected other than Miles is in both of them. But what we have here is, villains who aren't trying to kill everybody. They're just trying to make a buck. Another one who's stealing medicine, obviously probably to try to help somebody out in their family of some nature. We don't know for sure yet. It gets back to villains having more depth than just trying to take over the world or blow up the city or kill the hero. They're just trying to make money. They're just trying to make it illegally, but trying to make money. And they end up getting an honest job at the end. In the first story. In the second story, stealing medicine. Usually when somebody's stealing medicine, it's because somebody in their family or their friends need the medicine badly and can't afford it. So I like that. I like the character development. It is a kind of a wordy comic for modern era. Not for the old era, but for the modern era, it's kind of a wordy comic. So it's a fun read. It's nice to see Miles in not dealing with a vampire, not dealing with gods, just dealing with normal stuff that you would expect your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to deal with. So I really appreciate the book. I appreciate how it's done. The art is very stylized. So all in all, a very enjoyable book. It's probably not going to be the greatest hits or most memorable, but it's a fun, cool read. You should check it out. It's a nice setup for the story and see where we're going. All right, until next week. And that, keep the neighborhood friendly.